Guys, I have the pleasure. Fellow Jamaican is here, but she's not just any old Jamaican. She is the newest star of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, but also four-time gold medalist, Olympian, first-time Olympian we ever had a part of the franchise. Please, everyone, welcome to the show, Sanya Richards-Ross. Sanya, what's going on?
Sanya. Hi, Kempire. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited to meet you.
First of all, I have to say, and people know I'm a straight shooter. If I didn't like you, I wouldn't have you here, first of all. Let's be real. There's that. But I like what you're bringing so far. You're not cookie cutter. I know you compared yourself to a little bit of mix of a Cynthia with a little bit more shade. I'm liking the little shadiness and the bone collector in training.
Well, thank you so much. No, I definitely am excited to bring all of who I am to this platform. And obviously, I'm getting to know the ladies. I want them to meet me and get to know all of who I am. So yes, I feel like so far it's been amazing. And I can't wait for you guys to see the entire season because it only gets better.
Okay. Let's just get that off our chest, because as you probably know, the ratings have been coming out at least for the last couple of episodes. What has been your reaction, or maybe the ladies' reaction, to the ratings not being what people would expect for Atlanta?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's a little disappointing, but none of us are surprised. Last season, viewers were not happy with how the show turned out. And so we knew that this would be, a challenging season for us. And we really believe that we put together a great show. Like, it's just going to keep getting better and better. So our hope is that as people start to give us a chance again and start watching it, they'll fall in love with the cast. But to be honest, we're disappointed, but we're not completely surprised because, House of Atlanta fans, they speak their minds. They were saying about last season that they didn't feel like it was a great season. And we knew that going in. So, I think it's going to keep getting better. That's our hope. But I can't say enough about how great the season is.
Okay. And, a lot of people, I cover all of the tea leading up to this. So when they announced you, there was a lot of people like, oh, who is this woman? And you had you've done reality TV before, and a lot of people liked your show. What was like? Just tell us the approach. Like, when did this happen for you? Did someone reach out to you? Had they been reaching out to you? How did you get connected with the Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Yeah, for sure. So like you said, I did my own show in 2013. It was a family show called Glam and Gold. And I actually really enjoyed doing reality TV. I thought it was super cool. It kind of sucked because the senior vice president of the network got, they moved her out and we were trying to get picked up. It was just a lot that happened sometimes behind the scenes. And they wanted to go in a different direction. They were like, okay, no problem. But I always kind of left the door open for reality TV. And so when one of the producers reached out to me to possibly join the Real Housewives of Atlanta, first of all, I hadn't even had a house in Atlanta yet. I was just here working on a show called Central Ave with Will Packer.
Yes.
And I was like, how do they even know about me? Like, what do they expect from me? All of these questions. And so one thing about me, Kempire, I always say yes to life. So I was like, sure, let's continue on this journey. And what I love so much about the process was I felt like everything I was able to show up authentically as myself. And that's all I've always wanted to do was, they didn't ask us to to do any of the things. Like, what you see on Housewives is real. Okay. Like, these are the real women's lives. They're real reactions to circumstances.
Wait a second. One second. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but all of the Housewives are real, even Drew? I hate to give it to Drew. People swear I hate Drew, but it's not. But you've been open about questioning her authenticity.
Yeah, and so you're right. When I say all of the housewives are real, I feel like they're showing up how they want to show up, is what I should say. The producers ain't making us do nothing.
Okay.
And so yes, I have felt at times, and you'll see it throughout the season, like I felt like Drew wasn't always being 100 or showing up authentically in the moments, but that's on her own. Like, I don't know, sometimes she feels like she's acting and she feels like she's, with Tyler Perry and them. And I'm like, girl, you just with us. Like, this is
turn it down.
Bring it down.
Well, she also, I don't know if you saw this, but in a recent interview, she sort of accused you of doing that because she expected to have a better friendship with you.
You made it seem like you were not vibing with her anymore.
The new girl, Sanya, getting to know her has been a journey. I'll say that. It's been a journey. It's been an interesting
journey. So what's the journey we're going to watch here?
Oh, I thought Sanya was gonna be that girl. I thought she's a wife, she's a mother, like she's new to Atlanta, she's young, we can turn up, it's gonna be fun. And she just wasn't that girl. I felt like did what she needed to do to fit in, you know what I mean? And I felt like she used me as an easy target. Like, well, Drew's my friend, so she won't come for me, so I can just go for her, you know, and that's not cool. You know, I just felt like she wasn't who I thought she was.
Okay, so maybe she saw that Sheree and you were having friction and thought, maybe I want to be on Team Sheree, and leaned that way.
Chose the wrong team. But I don't think in a girlfriend group, it should be about teams. So I never really understood why Sanya, you know, wasn't being that friend back that I was being to her. Because I really was. I think jumped into this friendship before really knowing who she was. And I definitely didn't expect for our friendship to get so off track. So I was disappointed. I really was.
Okay. Is there hope for it to get back on track, or is it kind of off the rails for a bit?
I don't know. I'm still trying to get to know what Sanya does outside of just running. Like, I know she's a good runner, but outside of that, she didn't really show up to be a friend and show who she really was as like a woman, as a person. There were things that she did that were a little questionable. So I'm still just trying to get to know who Sanya is.
Well, you know, I think that's the tricky part about this show is Drew and I had hung out a couple times prior to the show. So I didn't know Drew that well. You know, I just knew how she presented herself the 2 or 3 times that we went out. And obviously, I had hoped that we were going to have a great friendship on the show. That was the goal, to come in and, you know, for our friendship to grow. But very quickly, some of the stuff she was doing just didn't gel well with me, didn't fit well with me. And I don't want to give away too much, but the first time I say something to her about it, she was so defensive. And I think that's really what started our relationship down the wrong track. It's like, yo, if I can't even express how I'm feeling to you without you going to 10, like, this is an issue for me. So
you call her out during the season?
Yeah, I called her out very early in the season. And she, I mean, her response blew my mind. And like I said, we just kind of weren't able to get back on track ever since then. But Drew and I were not besties before the show. We had, you know,
that's real.
I mean? We had just met a couple times, and I think a lot of times you meet somebody for the first time, you got with their husbands, they're all, you know, everything's great. But once you start to see how people especially interact with other people, like that was the triggers for me. I was like, hold up, wait. Like, and you'll see it. And those things made me kind of have some pause. And when I mentioned it to her, she was like, you know, da, da, da. I was like, but y'all will see it. So when I say everybody is real, what I really mean to say is that the producers don't set us up to be or portray anything. It's however we want to show up on camera. And I feel like that's the part of the show that I really appreciate.
And I have to say, what I really appreciate from you is that I feel the authenticity. So when you questioned your authenticity, I was like, I'm a really good judge of character. I'm very intuitive, and I didn't get that from you. From go, I was like, oh, I liked a little bit of the shady, but I also see that you are also balanced. We talk astrological signs here. What is your sign?
I am a Pisces.
Oh, Cynthia was a Pisces. Okay.
Is she?
Yeah. At least I think so. Yeah. She is a Pisces. Okay. And what is Ralph? Not Ralph. Oh, damn. Wrong person. Wrong housewife. What is Ross?
Ross.
Sorry.
That happened a lot. This season. People would be like, Ross, Ralph. Like, it was so, don't worry about it.
Okay.
But, Ross is a Virgo.
Oh, this is interesting. Okay. I'm psychoanalyzing everything right now. I'm psychoanalyzing. But speaking of this, I have to say, I'm thoroughly impressed. But one of the things that we really came down on the Real Housewives of Potomac star, Dr. Wendy Asefo, was her bringing up her 4 degrees. So, of course, the infamous scene in the trailer, I'm a 4-time gold medalist.
I'm a 4-time Olympic gold medalist.
Which you should be so proud of. Both of you are just so accomplished in what you both have done. I'm thoroughly impressed that when they talk about power couples, and I'm not sucking up here, I'm thoroughly impressed with the both of you when it comes to your athleticism and what you've achieved and what you love. But
thank you.
but
lay it on me.
4-time gold medals. Can you give us a hint as why you had to press them on your achievement?
Yeah, absolutely. So you'll see throughout the season, and like you can tell, I think from just even a little bit of seeing me, I rarely even talk about it. I'm not somebody who leads with that. Like, to me, that's kind of, of course, I'm obviously proud of it, worked really hard for it, but I rarely ever bring it up.
Okay.
But you shall see Kempire in this scene. I don't even know how much I can give you, but trust me, it was warranted. Drew was kind of saying some things, and I was like, what she was saying about me, I was like, girl, you must have forgotten how I got to this table, sis. So, it's probably it is the only time I say it in the show, and the show is going to be 17 episodes. And, I think they used it because I was so hurt by what she was saying that it just came out of me. Like I said, I rarely think I've ever told anybody that, but it was just, it was appropriate. And I think when you see it, you'll feel the same way. Okay. And if not, I'll come back on and we can talk about it.
Yes.
But but it was just because I needed to remind Drew, like, hey sis, like I belong at this table. Like, don't get it twisted.
Is Drew the other housewife that you have the most conflict with this season, or are there others?
So I would say I have the most consistent issues with Drew throughout the season. But no, I definitely have moments with a couple of the ladies throughout the season where, we just don't see eye to eye on something. And the one thing I've learned really quickly about this group is that you gotta have an opinion and you have to stand your ground. And I feel like that's what makes everybody kind of have their POV and why I think the viewers, fall in love with different people. So, throughout the season, me and Kandi have a moment, me and Kenya have a moment. Like, I have moments with a couple of the ladies. But I certainly feel like, we both have our POVs, and I feel firmly about how I felt and they felt how they felt. So, but I do feel like Drew was the one who we just couldn't get, like, even when we would get past it, it was like the next something else, then we'd get past it and something else. And I'm like, girl, yeah.
Well, in episode 1, you, as I called you lovingly, a bone collector in training, you and the bone collector head on over to Marlo to spill the tea. Rumor has it, and I'm not sure if this is even a rumor, but you and Sheree had hung out before this event before.
Yes.
So she was training you way before then.
No, we were actually training in the gym. So we were working out together. We were not working on my bone collector skills. But yeah, Sheree and I had hung out a couple times prior to also starting to film on the show too. Okay.
All right. Did you see the comments from people saying that, bone collector in training? And are you okay with that title? Are you a bone collector in real life?
No, I don't think I'm a bone collector in real life. And I think in that moment for both of Sheree and I, because obviously, there's other things that happen and, you see what you see. But it was kind of like Sheree and I were like, we need to, like, this ain't cool. Like, and I felt like in the scene, I said, we have questions. I thought there would be this. And even when we sat down, I said, no, girls, I told her what I said too. So it wasn't so much about me pointing and saying what everybody else said. I had questions too. And I asked Marlo, like, where are the models? I thought it was going to be a fashion show, Mm-hmm. But I don't think I'm overall a bone collector in the season. I don't think that you're going to see me do that multiple times. But I definitely find that what happens on the show a lot is that, you're there with the girls. They say something. The next moment you're with your friend and you're like, damn, should I say something? Should I not? And I think a lot of times you're better off saying it because then they hold you accountable. Like, well, you were there. Like, why didn't you say something? Why didn't you speak up? So
good point.
It happens, but people, I don't mind. I love this show. I love everything. I love people's opinions. It doesn't affect me. Like, I know who I am, so it's all good.
Good, because you have you felt the difference? Because you've had your own reality show before, but have you felt the difference of what the Real Housewives franchise is when it comes to people's opinions?
Oh yeah. I was warned,
By whom?
This is a different world. So when we were hanging out with Drew and Ralph, obviously Ralph had a rough first season and he's having a rough second season. And so he was the one, he was like, obviously you guys have been world-class athletes and I'm sure you guys have dealt with people's opinions, but he's like, he told Ross verbatim, he said, this is worse than if you were to drop the Super Bowl winning, pick in the end zone. Like, that's how much people care about this show and how vested they are. And so, yeah, he told us, he's like, it's going to come with a lot. So, it's kind of before we got into it, he was like, just so you know. And I was like, we were both like, okay, cool. So we were warned.
What is Ross feeling now that, 2-3 episodes have aired? What is his feeling now about being on this show? And when you brought it to him, what was his reaction? Hell to the no, no, no?
Hell to the no, no, no. It took a lot of good love and a lot of conversations to get us here.
Okay. So he was a little hesitant.
He was very hesitant, not just a little. I mean, my husband, his priority is always family. And obviously we all know that, they kind of call it like the reality TV curse, right? Like where marriages sometimes don't survive. And so he was worried about it. Like doing our own show is a little bit different than being on an ensemble cast. And so he was like, I don't know if this is the right move for us. Like, and I just kept telling him, I was like, man, like if they've come to us, and I feel like I'm very transparent as to who I am on social media, they want who we are. No one's asking us to start flipping tables and making things up. You know what I mean? So he came around, obviously.
And how is he feeling about this decision now?
He feels pretty good about it. So far the feedback has been really good, and it's going to spice up throughout the season. And we have moments on the show that I can't wait to see how it airs. But I think ultimately he's happy with the decision, and thinks that we're going to continue to kind of blossom from here. Like the best part is Kempire. Like the one prayer I had, I was like, I don't care what happens with the ladies. I just said, Lord, protect my marriage and my family. And we actually ended off closer. Like at the end of the season, we were like more in love, more. So I was like, God answered that prayer. Whatever else happens, I'm fine with.
Does that mean a baby girl's on the way? You want to give us that exclusive?
Still no baby updates to give.
Okay. Can we talk about that though? Because some people will scream, "Oh, storyline! They're just saying this for a storyline." Because we've seen other housewives fake about this, Robin. So I have to say, like I said, my first introduction to you on this show, I'm like, no, I feel like this is authentic. Can you tell us a little bit about the struggle of why you'd also want to have another child, but something happened when you had the first child that he didn't show up?
Yes. Yeah. And no, this is 100% authentic to our marriage. And I think a lot of women and men will be able to relate to what we're going through. And I mean, I feel like you could tell it's real because we do not have a baby number 2, right? Like there is a reason we haven't had one. And, and I tell my husband, and we were in the thick of it on the show, and it gets a little bit tricky. Like it's very emotional. And I really do hope that it helps men see women's perspectives and vice versa. Okay. But we wanted it to have a kid more than anything when we were pregnant with Deuce, and we had all of these big plans. And for anybody who's familiar with Jamaican culture, originally I had planned to have a helper, which in Jamaica we call like our kind of live-in nannies, right? Mm-hmm. Like someone who comes over and lives with you and kind of just helps you. And my husband was not like, he was like, no, somebody living in the house with us. And I kept telling him like the helper really helps the mom. They don't raise the kid. They just do all the other things that you need. So he was like, no, the first 6 months, let's do it by ourselves. And, let's be in the trenches together and, and we'll work it out. And it just wasn't that. Like, to be very honest, my husband and I have, through our marriage, I think why it had been so successful was we communicated very well. We had been together for 14 years prior to having a kid, which is a great thing, but it could also be tough because we had worked out. How does it work with 2 people? How do we love each other? And then we had our son, and it was like a bombshell went off in our marriage. And I also think too, for us, because we were also retiring simultaneously, which is very, very challenging when you retire from sports after doing it for 20 years and it's over in your 30s. Like now we got to figure out what's next. It's just a lot of things happening at the same time. Yeah. And so it was the lowest point in our marriage just because, I feel like Ross would kept saying, you want me to parent a certain way. And so instead of doing that, he would just kind of check out. And I felt like I had a lot of nights by myself. And I was thinking we were going to do this stuff together. And it took a long time for us to recover from that low point in our marriage to get back to this happy place. And I'm just like, baby, I don't know if I want us to go through that again. We are in a great space. We have a beautiful baby boy, And you never know, like people just think, but I'm like, what if we end up in divorce and now we have two, it's just a lot of things you have to consider.
Yeah.
And so we really navigate that throughout the show. And it's 100% real for us, 100% real for us.
Okay. Well, speaking of real, there's 9 people living in your house. And I said, and I know a lot of people judged you. And then I said to myself, Kempire, because I'm Jamaican too. I said, wait a second. I counted 6 kids, my mom, and a few cousins. I said, oh, wait a second. And you have a much bigger home than I grew up in. So I said to myself, let me not judge Sanya, but can we talk about how is that with your sister, your mom and dad? First of all, your father came through. I had triggered. I was like, oh, Lord. And then they put the captions under him. I was like, if this was my dad, this is exactly what they'd be doing because no one understands him.
Yes, no one would understand him. Exactly.
First of all, how is your mother and your father dealing with this now, attention on them on this particular reality show?
Well, my mom loves it. It's funny. She watches a lot of reality TV, and when we were making the decision to do the show, she was always here for it. She was like, "Girl, I think you'll do well on the show," and she was always like, "Whatever you need from me,"
Mm-hmm.
My dad, obviously, the complete opposite, right? Never watches reality TV. Didn't know much about the Housewives, but has always been very supportive of me. Like whatever we need, he's always down for it. But how we ended up in this situation was, like I told you, we actually weren't sure we were going to move to Atlanta before, doing Housewives. We had all lived in Austin, Texas, and we had 3 different homes about 5 minutes apart from each other. And then ironically, when COVID happened, we almost were like living in the same house almost every day because we quarantined together. They would always come to our house. And so when I decided, okay, I really am going to make this move, my mom said she was going to go back to Florida because she wanted to retire in Florida. She only came to Austin for me and my sister because of track stuff. And then my sister said she was going to move to Dallas. And I was like, hold on, before we break the band up, what if you guys try out Atlanta, right? Because obviously my sister was moving to Dallas for more diversity for her boys. Yeah. And my mom was going back to Florida because her brother and sister still live in Florida. And she's like, I want to be close to my siblings. So I said, how about you guys try Atlanta for a year or 2? And if you love it, maybe we could all live there. And they were like, girl, we're not about to buy houses in Atlanta. So I said, no, we'll just buy one big house, live together. And then if you guys like it, you guys can buy homes there. So I know it comes across a little bit crazy on TV. And it is kind of crazy because we had never done it before, but it has been working for us.
Okay.
We have an 8,000 square foot house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
We don't see each other if we don't want to, and some days we don't. Like my sister lives upstairs. There's 4 bedrooms up there. Ross and I live on the main floor. We have a master bedroom here, and obviously kitchen, dining, everything. And then the nicest part of the house is actually the basement because it was actually, when they have the unfinished basements and then they finally do it. So it was probably like 3-4 years old. It is gorgeous. Okay. They have 2 bedrooms down there, a movie room. They have a little gym in the back. Like they don't even come upstairs. So it's actually been really great. Okay.
Money is good over there. I mean, I would think. Okay, look, I would think the amount of success that between you and your husband, I'm like, okay. And your mother manages you and your sister is your hairstylist. Has that always been the situation?
Yeah. So my mom and dad, obviously my mom and dad owned a business in Jamaica when we first lived there. When they came to the States, my mom was working, my dad and mom were both working. And when I started my career, I was like, Mom, I'd love for you to manage me. So my mom actually left her job and started managing me full time when I was competing. Wow. She would travel overseas with me, do everything. And so she's been doing that now. I guess we started that in 2005. So what's that been, 17 years?
Wow.
And yeah, so she has been doing that. My mom also does travel. She's a travel agent. There are other things that she's passionate about that she does as well. But, I've been fortunate to be able to do that with her for so many years and kind of retire my dad. And my sister owned a salon in Austin. So obviously she had that business going. She still does my hair. She's a full-time content creator, mommy of 2. So everybody works in the house. It's not like they're here just,
living off of you.
Everybody works and contributes, to the household. But I just love working with my family. It's like you can trust these people around you and they want the best for you. So I've always tried to work with my family.
The only problem is when the beef patties are running low.
That's the only time we have trouble.
If people have not been to Jamaica before and had a beef patty, then they have no idea. They're thinking the beef patties that they get here in the States. It just doesn't compare. It just doesn't compare. Are we going to see a lot more of your family on the show? Because just the little bit that we've gotten, I've already said spinoff, and there are a lot of people that love to jump around and say, "Oh yeah, give them a spinoff." But I think you guys would be very entertaining.
Thank you so much. Yes, you do see a lot of my family on the show because obviously they're a big part of my life, and when they're recording here, we're all here, right? So it's very easy for them to capture moments with us. So yeah, I don't know what makes the show until I see it with you guys. I mean, we get to see it a few days before the public sees it. So I don't know all the scenes that will make the show, but they certainly did capture a lot of great moments, and I hope that it makes the show.
Okay, well, let's talk a little bit more about the show. And I really do appreciate you taking the time to do this conversation. I think the last time I spoke to a Real Housewives was Portia Williams, and that was a long time ago. So I'm excited for what you're going to bring on Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Thank you.
But let's talk about this season. So you say the struggles so far mostly have been with Drew, but you do have some scuff ups with Kandi and Kenya. Yes. First of all, a lot of people mispronounce your name. Can you just let people know how to correctly pronounce your name?
Yes. And so the issue is, obviously I'm Jamaican. And so my mom calls me Sanya, which is why a lot of the ladies heard my name pronounced that way. And also one of our producers is Jamaican, so she calls me Sanya. But I prefer, and have always gone by since I've been in America, Sanya, the soft A, because I think that a lot of Americans, when they try to say Sanya, say Sanya. I don't like that pronunciation.
Sanya.
So I go by, my whole career, I've always gone by Sanya. Sanya Richards-Ross is the pronunciation. But Sanya is not wrong. That's what my mama calls me. But I prefer Sanya.
Okay. And you saw the confessionals. Now that you've seen the last couple of episodes, you've seen people, when Kenya was first introduced to you, she's like, I'm not sure if it was Sanya. Can you just allude to us what are the issues that you end up having with Kenya or Kandi? I know you can't get into specifics, but can you hint at what? Because I'm trying to understand. It seems like you guys are in a good place so far, but.
Yes, I think we start off in a good place, obviously. The ladies don't know me. Like when I met Kenya at La Archive, that was my first time meeting her in real life. We had not met before that. And so obviously, and I felt like when she first met me and we first met each other, we both wanted to give each other a chance and get to know each other. I think the tough part with Kenya that I think everybody knows is she can be a little tricky, right? Like sometimes the shade that she throws at you, you're like, she being shady, like, and then she always laughs after she says something that sometimes can feel a little bit condescending. And so I think we bump heads sometimes because I'm like, hold up. It ain't gonna be too many more jokes and laughs, sis. Like we gotta, so I don't want to give too much of that away as well. But yeah, I think we bump heads just because of her personality. Sometimes I call her a sour patch. Sometimes she's sweet, sometimes she's sour.
Okay, sour patch.
She's a sour patch.
Okay.
When she's sweet, she's really sweet. But when she's sour, right?
And what about Kandi? Because Kandi, everyone gets along with Kandi. Everyone loves Kandi in Atlanta.
Yeah, and it's so funny because the thing about the show is, like I was meeting Kandi. Me and Kandi hung out a few times, but really getting to know her on the show, and we're like best friends now. Like Kandi and I talk like every day, and we're really cool. But throughout the show, there was a misunderstanding. We had a misunderstanding, and she felt a certain kind of way about something I said or did, and it was like that wasn't what it was. And Kandi's don't speak her mind, so we had to go over it a couple times.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's so funny because we're both like, damn, we're like besties now, but throughout the season we had a moment.
Well, you're also strangers coming together for the show, so you got to feel each other out.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, Kempire, like right before I started filming the show, I went with my girl, one of my longest best friends. I've known her since high school days. She invited us for her birthday, and we were out with some girls who she has new friends, old friends, and like the first day I got there was one girl I didn't like. We just didn't gel, right? And I was like, man, like this is reality. Like you get a group of girls together. Some people are gonna mesh well. Some people's personalities are gonna, automatically rub you the wrong way. And I think that's what makes this show so special, is that you're seeing like real experiences of women who are, together trying to build relationships, but we're all different.
Yeah.
There's a lot of differences. So I think it's natural that you bump heads, and then some people you get closer to, some people are just going to be acquaintances. And that's real.
Who are you closest with now that the season is over? Who are you closest with, and who? Oh, I already know who you're not close with, Drew.
So now that the season is over, I am closest with Kandi and Marlo.
Okay.
Ironically, me and Kenya talk a lot, which, we're in a good space. And me and Sheree, catch up every now and then.
Oh.
And it's
Wait a minute. Catch up every now and then.
Well, I don't mean that in a shady way.
Yeah.
I just mean like, I got to be a ranking order, right? So Kandi and Kenya, I talk to the most. Kandi and Marlo, I talk to the most. Kenya is third, and then Sheree. Me and Sheree have no beef. Like, we just don't catch up as much. You know what I mean? Like, we talked the other day and we laugh, and it's a great conversation. But it's not like we talk as much as I talk to the other ladies.
Yeah. Okay.
And then I'll see Drew when I see Drew.
I'll see Drew when I see Drew. I mean, I don't blame you. But and guys, calm down. I don't hate Drew. This is a reality show. We're laughing and kikiing. But Sanya, Marlo, this is Marlo's first. And first of all, did you watch Real Housewives of Atlanta before being on it?
Yeah, I was a big fan of the show, especially in the early seasons. I think just like everybody, the last couple seasons, I didn't watch it as regularly as I did before that. It's like, before it was like, you got to be there every Sunday night. And then, the seasons progressed. It was kind of like, you binge watch it. And so, yes, I was definitely a big fan. I think that they've been, like cultural icons, like so many things that have happened in those shows that I think have impacted our lives. So yes, I definitely knew of the ladies and had watched and supported the show prior.
Speaking of which, Nene is maybe, a lot of people are debating, the queen of reality TV, but she is one of the most important parts of the franchise overall. As you know, Nene has filed a lawsuit against Bravo. I know there's not much you can say about that, but what has been your experience being a part of this series?
Oh, man. I mean, I have had a great experience so far. I don't discredit anybody else's experiences, but for me, it has been wonderful. I feel like there has been tremendous diversity, obviously in front, but also behind the camera. I have felt very valued as a Black woman in every situation. And so, for me, I can only speak of my own experiences. I'm obviously very new to this situation, but so far it has really been, and I've been in a lot of situations. This has been a really good experience for me so far.
I love hearing that. Speaking of Marlo's got her peach this season. And I'm one of those people that doesn't feel that Marlo needs a peach to be great on TV. She's already been legendary on Real Housewives of Atlanta. But what is your feeling of Marlo this season, as someone has watched her on the show before? What is the difference that you've seen and noticed in Marlo?
Oh, man, I would say that I think what makes Marlo this season really shine is we get to see more depth to her character. Before, I feel like when we saw Marlo, it was always like, she was a friend of the girls. So she would pop up for events and, she'd give you a good read. And of course, the fashions. But this season, to see her in the role of Munty, I think just adds a lot of dimension to her character. And her and I end up getting really close as the season progresses, largely in part because I just feel like, with Marlo, what you see is what you get. She's so real, and sometimes that could be a bad thing because she'll just say whatever comes to her mind, right? She's that friend who has your back. But if you get on her bad side, she will talk about your mama, right? Like, we all know that.
So very similar to Kenya, Sour Patch. I mean, they're both the same sign.
They are both the same sign. You're right. They really are. They are more alike than they are different. And I think that's why they bump. But Kempire, when I tell you, when they bump heads, it's
good.
It's
good for us.
They're like, is this really happening? Like, it's insane. But I think that's what makes, for someone who actually watched the show before and was already a fan of Marlo, how she came on the show, I think people who loved her before will love her even more. we'll get to understand her. Like you get to meet her mom this season. Like it's a lot. It's a lot of layers.
Ooh, I like hearing that. Okay, wait. So sidebar. Do we find out how Marlo really makes her money?
You'll have to wait and see.
Sanya. Okay. Any regrets in doing this show?
Oh, good question. I don't really have a lot of regrets in life, like I told you, my attitude towards life is I say yes to life, and I feel like God says yes to me. So, no, of course, obviously there were scenes where I felt like, I wish I'd have said this, or I wish I'd have done that, or in retrospect. But, I feel like, that's life. Like we all go through and, you learn from every experience. And, my sports psychologist used to always tell me, you fail forward, right? You make a mistake, but you just keep failing forward until you get to the finish line. So no regrets.
Wait a second.
Super excited.
See, that's the other side of you that, like I said to you before, I'm very impressed with both you and your husband being so like at the top of your sports.
Thank you.
A sports psychologist? So you guys had to see a psychologist?
No, you didn't have to. So, and I think a lot of people, especially now after the 2020 games, when we saw Simone Biles really, centering mental health in sports, like, in 2012, in 2008, I was favored to win gold and I won the bronze. And
I didn't want to bring it up. I didn't want to bring it up.
It still hurt.
I mean, at least you got a medal.
I did get a medal, and it took me a long time to say I won the bronze. For forever, I thought like I lost that gold medal. But here we are, 10 years later, I have grown. But yeah, and so that was a very traumatic experience for me. I had won every race that season, and like the one race I wanted to win, I didn't win. And I can't remember who said it to me first. They were like, you should talk to a sports psychologist to be able to put this behind you. And it was the best decision I had ever made, the best decision. Because I think a lot of us, you understand the importance of having a coach for the track, but it's like the most important thing when you're at the Olympic start line is your mind. The body is ready. The talent is there. Everything is there. It's about who's the person who can focus in, not get distracted, not talk themselves out of greatness. That's the person who's going to win. And that takes a specific skill set.
Not talk themselves out of greatness. That is a word. Oh my, no, it really is. That is a word. Wow. I mean, look, I am honored to be, this is the first time I'm speaking to an Olympian, especially a gold medalist. And,
thank you.
And you hold the record, right? In the 400 meter for any. Yes. Okay.
I'm the fastest American to ever run the 400 as well.
Male or female?
No, female.
Okay.
No, men run faster.
I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised. I wouldn't have been surprised though. Just saying. Black girl magic. Okay, but what's next for you? You're doing Real Housewives of Atlanta, and that was where I was first introduced to you, was on Central Ave. I was like, oh, okay, who? Well, no, I knew your track stuff, but in this new era of what you're doing. So what are you doing now? What do you want to do in the future? Because this is a very huge platform.
Yeah, thank you for asking that. So I am still an NBC commentator. So I commentate and travel and do all the big track meets. So I'll be at the World Championships, go to the Olympics, which I love being able to do. I'm still a Nike brand ambassador. So Nike very rarely keeps athletes on after they compete. I think the last person they kept on before me was Carl Lewis. So I still work with Nike, and I do appearances. I'm actually going to an appearance next week to work with them. But ultimately, what I want to do is I want to do more television. I want to continue to grow as a sports and TV analyst. And, I love hosting. The Central Ave job was kind of like a dream job for us. I hated that COVID happened and just kind of slowed down the show. But yes, I'd love to continue hosting and doing more television. So I think this is a great opportunity for people to get to know me and see my personality.
And based off of everything, the season has already wrapped. You haven't done the reunion just yet. But based off everything, would you do Real Housewives, another season of Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Absolutely.
Okay. We hear, first of all, there was a lot of drama around the separate photo shoot that you guys did. And can you just talk a little bit about the promo that you guys were working on that Marlo didn't show up to?
told you that, Kempire? Who told you that?
I have my sources. Okay. Are you confirming? Are you confirming?
I will not confirm or deny.
Okay.
No, so with that though, and I think that there was a lot of misinformation about that. So this had nothing to do with wanting to recreate our promo. I think that we all understand, I am acutely aware of how important social media is to promotions, right? Like we want people aren't getting there, people aren't watching TV and getting promos from there or listening to the radio. Like we're all on our phones. So I think as a group, and I think honestly, it was more a testament to us, like really wanting people to tune in and wanting to watch the season. So, you know, we got together and we're like, hey, let's do some content. And, you know, and so we did photos, we did some videos. Unfortunately, our video, I'm not gonna mention that, but anyway, we had done some videos and we put a few of them out, but we wanted to do a few more. But it was more about really just having the awareness around the fact that people are going to be on social media. The show is coming up. Let's get together and do some content. And I thought Bravo did a great job with our photo shoot, and I was happy with the photos.
Okay.
So it wasn't meant to like be a redo of that, even though that's what ended up happening.
Yeah.
But it was more about us getting together and doing what we could to promote the show.
So the big cast trip is going to Jamaica. And I said, first of all, I love the fact that they have a real Jamaican, and there's nothing like any country that you go to. If you can have a local take you, that is the best way to go. Can you tell us, I know you can't tell us what happens on the trip, but what happens on the trip in so much so, does it change anything amongst the group and the season?
Wow, that is a perfect way to phrase that question, Kempire. It really is, because it does. So first of all, like you mentioned, I was very fortunate to be able to invite the girls to Jamaica. I think that there's no better way to get to know somebody than to really get to experience their culture, and you get to understand who they are. You know, like even when I went there, we went to the National Stadium, which is where I ran my first race, right? And it was like, for them to see the statues and to understand how important track and field is to our culture and how important it was for me to kind of follow in that tradition was very significant for me. But baby, we had, I mean, there are a couple moments on the show that literally being there, I kind of, like I told you, I was like, this isn't happening, right? Like I felt like there's no way these ladies are gonna be friends again after this. Like this is it, we're done. Wrap the show, time out, take 20. And out of nowhere, on one of our, you know, we're just having dinner and the conversation seemed very light. Like we're talking about, you know, topics that all girlfriends talk about. And it just went completely left. Completely left. I don't know if I should tell you who it's with, because I know I don't want to be the person who's always, you know, but the Jamaica trip definitely does change the dynamics of the group in a huge way. Okay. And it's kind of, we have to kind of come back and put the pieces together. So it was crazy.
Okay.
Crazy.
Well, first of all, Sanya, I'm so happy that we were able to have this conversation. I'm so happy that we were able to get connected. As I said to you before, I wouldn't have you here if I didn't feel like we could have a conversation, which doesn't mean, Drew, you can't come on either. Drew, you can come on too. Drew. You can come on too. But Sanya, I always ask this question. I've asked this question for years. If there was one question that you would want to be asked that no one ever asked you, what would that question be?
Oh, that's such a good one. You should have warned me. I could have been thinking about it. That is a great, great, great question. And I feel like you did a great job today on covering, obviously, the main topic, right? Being on Housewives and relationships and all that, all those things. If there were one question that I would want to be asked, I don't know.
Sorry.
I'm very rarely stumped, so that's a really good one. So now if I don't think of one right now, I'm gonna be kicking myself. Like,
well, you know what you can do for us? Think about it, make a video, and send it to me.
Okay, that's exactly what I'll do, because nothing is really coming to mind right now. And I guess there is one thing that I feel like I would love to just share. So the question would be, I guess, why was it important for me to do this show? Why was it important for me to do Housewives or to do any things that I'm doing? And I think I really have a heart for young Black girls in sports. And I think for most of us, after you're done competing, it's like, what do you do next? There is no blueprint for the Olympic champion who dominates and then what next? And so for me, I thought that this was once again a great opportunity to show young girls, especially young Black girls in sports, that the skill sets that we learn in sports help us to do anything in life. And although I would have never imagined I'd go from Olympic gold medalist to the Housewives of Atlanta, here I am, just hoping to continue to represent us well and open more doors for female athletes. So I guess that's one thing that I would want to be asked.
That. I love that.
Other than that, you've done a great job.
Thank you. But the reason why I asked that question is because I know all of you, celebrities, reality TV stars, do these interviews, and interviewers have their own intentions and what they want to get out of you. But I know that you guys have questions that like, oh, I wish they would have asked this. So, but if you do think of something even later, but I think what you just said was beautiful, beautiful. Sanya, I really do appreciate you taking the time out to do this interview, and I look forward to seeing you on the rest of this season. And I can't wait to see. I think we're going to love you, though. I think we're going to love you. But trust and believe, we're straight shooters. So if there's something that we don't like, pow, 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 pow.
Yes, no, come with it. I'm here for all of it. And I just want to keep growing and getting better and showing more of who I am. So I'm never opposed to, fair criticism. So it's fine. Have at it.
All right. Sanya Richards-Ross, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.